All right, welcome to another episode of Not Investment Advice. This is the Tom Osman special episode. We got a special guest here today. Tom, what's happening, mate?
Doing good, man. Good to be on. Been a long-time listener. Obviously a huge fan of you, gent. So it's an honor.
Wait, why do we keep bearing the lead here? Why is this a special episode?
Trung wants to get straight to it. All right, well, let's let people know.
Why is this a special episode?
Well, why don't we ask Tom? Why? All right,
why is this special?
Yeah, Tom, tell us what's been going on in your world.
No, you do it, but
all right, well, all right, what it is, Tom, you might have seen him on Vice News, you might have seen him on CNBC or something like that, or the anonymous person behind his epic trade of recent times. So Tom flipped an Ether Rock, which we'll get into in a minute what that is, from I think 1.7 ETH, which is about 5 Gs, and he's flipped it to 400 ETH, which was $1.3 million in only 19 days. So that is the headline. And listen to right until the end, and we'll tell you how he did it.
Let me do a quick calculation. I'm trying to see what the annualized return on that is. My phone just broke.
Tom already knows off the top of his head. You don't need a calculator.
No, I don't. Absolutely no idea. I think it's somewhere
Tom,
like a 235x.
Have you done the annualized return? Have you done the annualized return on your trade?
I haven't, but it's filthy.
It's, those bot accounts that tell you the NFT flip, and this one just goes, it's past the character limit.
Like 10 episodes ago, we're talking about the greatest trade ever. Stanley Druckenmiller made a bill shorting the pound. Yo, move over, Stanley. Get out of the way, bro. This is the new trade of the century, man. Well, this is the trade of this century. Stanley can have the 20th century. Tom has the 21st century.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. 2 seconds.
Wait, now he's really going incognito.
Oh,
he's pseudonymous web on Web3.
Yeah, I had to disappear. Put an avatar up, guys. Come on.
All right, so Tom, let's just get straight to it, mate. Like, what the hell happened? Because this is a crazy story. I know people might know you from before this. You did some stuff at MakerPad. You were basically one of the first employees, if not the first. So people know you on the internet already, and you've helped a lot of people with a lot of stuff, and this just came all the way back to you. So, yeah, just tell us what the hell happened, man.
And then you helped yourself. You recently helped yourself.
It's about time.
All right, let's go. Let's let Tom opine.
Okay, so Ether Rock, just to set the scene, Ether Rock was like an original 2017 NFT project. One of the first, I think one of the one of the first 10 projects to launch on Ethereum, and launched in 2017. And over the last 4 or 5 years, only like 36 out of 100 of them were minted. And someone tweeted from an Ether Rock Twitter account the other day or 19 days ago or 25 days ago, whatever it is now, that this project was actually still minting 5 years later. And it was in a response to a Gary Vee tweet about that the OG projects from 2017 to 2019 would do much better than all the new like PFP profile picture projects are launching now, like 10 to the dozen. All the value kind of flood back to these projects. So this Ether Rock random Twitter account replied to Gary Vee tweet, and then Gary Vee retweeted it to say, yeah, it was still minting. So I saw the tweet and I was like, surely not. This project is not like still minting. So I jumped across, clicked the link, followed the link through, found the site, and then I'm just watching it. I'm like, okay, this looks ridiculous. It's just a picture of a rock. Like, it's from clip art. They're all like different shades. Like, it's free on clip art. So then, and it's on a bonding curve, right? So there's 36 sold, but they start to sell. And each one, it gradually goes up in price. So it was like 1.3 and one like 1.4, 1.5. And then it got to like number 41. I'm like, this shit's going to sell out. This shit's going to sell out like right now. I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, fuck, I'm going to do it. So loaded up the wallet, hit the buy at like 41, and then got beaten on gas. I was like, fuck, somebody else is buying it at the same time. I'm like, there's going to be loads of other people buying it. So bought wait for that one to go through, bought 42, sped up the gas, paid the 5, paid the man the 1.7 ETH, secured the rock, told Mr. Butcher about it, that secured the rock could be either the dumbest thing I've ever done in the world, and I've just flushed 1.7 ETH literally down the drain, or it's going to be the best investment.
Wait, you need to talk about, you were able to say, I secured the rock.
Secured the rock.
That's the best.
The rock. Where's the rock? Where's the rock? It's secured. I secured the rock. It's like straight out of an action movie.
Secured the rock, but you don't actually get the rock. This is an old school standard. So it's not an ERC20. So you don't actually get anything. It's just your name against the record that you own number 42 token.
Okay,
so you don't actually get anything.
So this is, Tom, I wanted to throw this out there because I'm such a noob. We've been getting some DMs from people be like, and even people trying to pump NFT projects through NIA. First of all, guys, it's called not investment advice. Just stop. We're not pumping anything, right?
It's not investment advice.
That's number one. This is not, everything Tom just said is clearly not investment advice.
Definitely
even though it's the trade of the century, not investment advice. But so Tom, I actually have no idea what minting means. Like this is it. Like this is how. Okay. Like I have no idea what that means. All I know is that Jack talks about it all the time, and then I just nod my head and pretend like I'm really talking about it. For 20 episodes in, I couldn't swallow my pride to even ask him what minting means.
Jack, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. And I'll I'm operating from a perspective of what I've experienced as a user, not how the technology works. But basically, minting, as I understand it, is like the transaction you do to move whatever this NFT asset is from the contract it's located in to your wallet. And that's maybe not a technically perfect explanation, but if something is unminted, then it hasn't been claimed.
Been created yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been created, hasn't been claimed. So that act of minting would be like where the code is executed that would randomize all the physical attributes of these avatars or whatever, and then say, okay, Tom's address is this, that token is moving to Tom's address, and this JPEG that represents that token is hosted here.
Okay, so just that Tom made that point clear, right? He didn't even receive anything.
No, but you're the first time owner. So I'm not buying it off anybody. Like when you mint something, you're the first owner of that NFT in a project. So you're not buying it off. If you buy my rock, I minted it, you bought it off me. Okay. So if you minted it for the first time, that means you've got it the cheapest, you've got it the first, you're the first owner.
Okay. I guess the same as currency, right? Like if, that's why you mint pounds or dollars or whatever else. It's like it comes from this central, like this is where it is born.
Being first matters, right? I don't know if you guys remember, but Ray J, who used to date Kim Kardashian, made a diss track about Kanye and said, I was there first.
Savage.
So I just want to establish, I'm not going to say what there means, but being first means something in this world. Tom, is this correct?
Being first matters, 100%.
Being first. Okay.
Let's be honest. Ray J was not first either. No, he was not first either. He was to be clear.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Moving on from that.
We don't want to get demonetized. Okay, from the movie Talladega Nights starring Will Ferrell, he goes, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, son.
So this is Tom Osman. Okay, Tom, I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of this. Okay. So you're a family man. Is this correct? We don't have to say how much of a family man
family
you are.
Man.
Are you a family man?
Several children.
Okay, you're a big family man. So you're doing, you have family responsibilities. Presumably this includes putting food on the table for your family. So when you're about to drop 5K on a JPEG rock, and you know that somewhere down the line, you might have to have a conversation with your significant other, what was going through your mind when you made this purchase?
Okay, so first, this wasn't the first NFT that I've bought. So my fiance Nat has been in the rabbit hole with me for the last 4 months. So me and Jack were fortunate enough to get apes at like 0.3 ETH. So we got in early. So we've already had the win. This was ridiculous. This was from the pot of you could literally set fire to it and you could be.
It's house's money. You're playing with the house's money. Let's establish that. You're playing with the house's money.
Yes, this is the house's money.
Okay.
There was no consultation before the purchase because of the bonding curve, and I would be priced out if I'd left it for 5 minutes longer, I'd have been priced out because I only had like 2 point something in my wallet at the time.
Okay.
And
Oh my God.
So like,
oh my goodness.
I was like, fuck, like it's now or never, son. Bought it. And then saw the rest of it sell out in like 12 hours. I was in the Discord, which just got set up. And then that went mental. All the buyers started coming through that they got it. The last one sold at like 3 a.m. and I was still up. I was like watching it sell out. Everyone's going nuts. The last one sold at like 9.8 ETH. And then it started selling on secondary. And yeah, then it got real crazy.
And just to establish some pricing stuff for our listeners here. I believe, I mean, you guys correct me. 2 weeks ago, the floor price was basically $100,000. And then today, the floor price is $1 million. Is this right?
More. I think 750 ETH, I think, is the floor now.
Oh my goodness, bro. So you touched on this in some of our DMs. You probably left money on the table. But 100%. Again, being the first, you wanted to be the first to sell for $1 million. Is this correct?
Yeah, correct. So
unbelievable.
I watched all the sales. I had number 42, which is like a red. It's a red. So there's only 3 of them. Like a lot of them are silver. There's a couple of blue. So technically, out of all the PNG clip art rocks, it's actually like a rare rock. So I'm in this Telegram group with a bunch of Giga whales who are just like in a different league than me, just like tens of thousands of ETH knocking around. I'm like, how even did I get here?
Unbelievable.
So then I see them going up, yes, like to about 220, 240 sale. I'm like, okay, this thing's already breaking the internet. Everyone's going skits, like losing their mind, like hating the rock. Bitcoin maxis throwing laser eyes down, like throwing shit. I just like, shut up. So, and then I'm like, okay, £1 million sale, which was like my goal. I had number 42. I set a 420 target when I bought it. I was like, 420, the meme number, like 42 for 420, like done. So I had that target as a sell because that's like huge life-changing amount for me. I didn't want to, have a price to get out, otherwise you'd never sell.
Yeah.
So, and then it comes to it. I put a message in the Telegram saying, look, I could be persuaded off my rock for a price. Someone reaches out and says that, yeah, I'll take it off your hands. We do it. And then it comes through 160 over the last top sale. And then the internet just fucking breaks.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, he's going to sell it for a multiple of 400 ETH. He'll probably sell it for a few thousand. He owns the most expensive CryptoPunk purchase at like $40 million as well. So he's a giga whale of all proportions. So left definitely millions of dollars on the table, but gained millions of dollars in attention for like the next thing I'm doing. Like New York Post published yesterday, Cointelegraph, Lad Bible, like Barstool. Everyone's all over it.
Don't forget NIA podcast,
CNBC
Tom. This is it.
NIA.
This is the big
exclusive. NIA exclusive.
Well, wait. So Tom, I just want one thing I wanted to add to that. I want these other guys to start throwing some questions since I'm monopolizing right now. But I know a very successful gold miner from Vancouver, and he always said, "You get rich by selling too early," right? That was his line. You get rich by selling too early. You can't just hold, man. You never know what's gonna happen, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what the saying is, but like taking money now rather than in the future is a good move, and especially like the trade-off with the attention. So since now, there's been bigger sales. Like there's bigger sale the next day, like 420.
Nobody cares.
One might have like privately sold for 800.
Yeah,
but it's like hasn't even been mentioned. Not like one article about it. Like no noise. So got all the attention. Got a few hundred more members into my community. A few thousand followers on Twitter. Gone down in the history books for the first $1 million sale. So yeah, plan worked out.
Do you have a Wikipedia page yet? If not, I can start that right now. I'll start the Wikipedia page.
Let's do it.
Guys, all right, hit them. What are we asking here? Because I got a million questions, and you better get your questions in before I start, because I'll never stop.
Trung, you should do all of your transaction-related questions, and then we can do some more like high-level stuff. Okay.
All right. Okay. So we got to start talking about this Telegram group, right? So, I mean, if we're thinking about NFTs as this whole new asset class, I know Discords are getting a lot of pub as places where these transactions happen. But are we selling short these Telegram groups? Like, can you talk me through how? I mean, you probably can't disclose how many people is in this Telegram group. I'm guessing we're talking dozens of Giga. And what is a Giga whale? How many ETH do you have to be a Giga whale?
So you don't really know how much money these people have got, but like a 400 ETH purchase is like a loaf of bread, literally nothing. Like this is the thing which is crazy. Everyone's going nuts on Twitter about people like, how can anyone spend this money on a rock? It's clearly money laundering, but they're like vastly underestimating the amount of money some people have. And this is child's play to separate me from a rock at $1 million. It's like, or $1 million. But yeah, like tens of thousands of ETH in a wallet, or like hundreds of millions of dollars.
I think you touched on a really important point, which we've talked about before, is like when Balazs is like, if Bitcoin hits 300,000, half the world's billionaires are going to be Bitcoiners, right? It's like, I don't think people are understanding how much money these people have, these Giga whales, right? And I think you identified it as you were talking through when you were hunting down number 42. It's like, you knew that this was going to be rare, right? So did Gary V get any of the Ether rocks?
Don't think he did. He
started this.
So he started it. I was in the Discord before him. I bought the rock before him, and then a few hours later saw him pop up, and he put a couple of messages like, "Tell me everything." Everyone gave him the lowdown, but don't think he actually pulled the trigger.
Oh my goodness, man! So the other question I had, I was trying to understand, recounting your story. It's just so insane to me how quickly this all came together, right? It was like, if you hadn't seen that Gary V tweet, you would have purchased, but you wouldn't have been involved in this. Could you talk through all the things that could, have you guys ever seen the movie Sliding Doors?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's the premise of the movie Sliding Doors is basically Gwyneth Paltrow catches her husband or a significant other cheating, but the movie plays it out. There's two ways. Basically for a train, she catches the sliding door and gets inside the train in time, catches him cheating, but they also run an alternative timeline when she doesn't catch the sliding door. So I want to know how many sliding door moments there were. Like, if you hadn't seen that Gary V tweet, or if you had only one ETH in your wallet, like, what were all the small things that happened for this incredible trade to go through, and how could it have fallen apart?
Yeah, it's really interesting because there's so much opportunity in this space, but it's so intense. It's like a weird, like inverse, like mental model saying like, you shouldn't be spending all of your day on Twitter and Discord and OpenSea, but two, you should be spending all your day on Discord, Twitter, and OpenSea, because otherwise you're never going to get like opportunities like that. And then you've got to be able to like notice when like that opportunity is an opportunity rather than something which is just like a steaming pile of garbage. And again, you can only feel like that's going to be a game changer by feeling the market. Something so well strong. Like let's say if you're spending like hours in Reddit and you just know that there's like a story which is just going to blow up on Twitter, you can just feel it in your bones. If you're spending all day in Discord and you're seeing like velocity of people talking about old school projects, and then you're seeing people talk about on Twitter, and you see one pop up, you're just like, this is the one. This is the one. I feel it. Like bang.
100 is so small, right? The quantity is just ridiculously small.
Yep. And
so can I follow up on that? It's like, you said you had done 4 months of NFT trading before the rock.
Yep.
I'm assuming you took some L's over those 4 months. What were some wins and losses in those 4 months that informed exactly what you said, that prepared you for like, what was that awful loss you took versus one that was there one that had zero cap, or was literally started in March and you're like, oh, this is amazing. You're like, okay, well, these new ones are really dumb unless you have X behind it.
Yeah.
What did you learn?
You can only like diamond hand something, which is obviously holding on to an NFT until it's worth like what it should be worth rather than selling too early, is if you take like a few L's on the way, like you paper hand the shit out of some stuff. So like I had like a trippy hat ape, which I bought for like 8 ETH, like a steal, and I just like paper handed it for like 12.5, and like now it's worth like, I don't know, like 100 ETH, like floor or something dumb. So, but like without selling that, and I sold like a gold Bored Ape Yacht Club dog, Bored Ape Kennel Club dog for like stupidly cheap. But like without doing that, then I wouldn't have had the ETH to buy the rock. So it's like, it's nuts how it works. And I sold some Punks comics that I minted, which are now worth like 8 ETH, minted them for like 0.03 or something. And then like sold them too early. But then again, like if I hadn't have done that, wouldn't have had the ETH to buy the rock. So
oh my God, dude. I just love the path dependence on your road. Well, here's the thing that makes your story amazing too. It's like, you're not one of these Giga whales,
Nah.
right? It's like, well, not yet. But what I'm saying is that like, you were just, like you said, all these things had to happen. So I'm keeping count now what had to happen. Had to have, who put who on? Did you put Jack on NFTs, or did Jack put you onto NFTs? Or were you guys just
going
came up
both,
together?
both at the same time, I reckon.
Okay.
No, Jack was Jack was creating first and minting NFTs and selling on Foundation first. And I think we saw Bored Apes at the same time. We were going to send the message to each other at the same time. I just spent the night like picking and choosing and buying them.
Oh my God.
Jack
dude.
went fucking ham on them. And I was like, well, there's me, like a mere minnow, like a few months ago, like, carrying up to try and get one. I was like, yes, like got one.
No, this is what I love about this story, because 4 months ago, Jack was between the TU, the big dog, right? He had sold the NFT on Foundation for 40 ETH. So he's the Giga whale between the two of you. But now the tables have turned. No, but here's what's funny. You
haven't seen Jack's ape collection. He's doing fine. Don't worry.
I know. Well, we should. I'm sure we're going to talk about that, right? So that's his. So now I'm keeping count for our listeners on what's had to have happened. So Tom caught on to the NFT stuff early, got on the ground, got in very early on 2 huge ones, Bored Apes and CryptoPunks. I know CryptoPunks started a couple years back.
No CryptoPunks. It was Puppetry. It was like, it's on a tear at the moment. So it went Bored Apes, Punks comic, paper handed them.
Okay.
Took a profit, but sold too early. And then
without those profits, you couldn't have made this Ether Rock move. But you also wouldn't have made the Ether Rock move if you hadn't seen Gary V's tweet, if you hadn't been
14 hours a day.
24 hours a day. In Discord. And then you also mentioned your partner is also very much into this stuff too. Okay, amazing. I mean, that's right there. Aligned interest, right? So, okay, now let's fast forward. All these sliding door moments happen, and somehow you're in this Giga Will Telegram group. You don't have to tell us how you got in. You're in it. Okay. So the sale happens. And when did it become clear that the price was ripping? So you got it at 1.7, but by later that night, at 3 a.m., it already gone up 3-4 times.
Yeah,
right?
so
Before.
I live tweeted actually. I don't know if you can dig up the tweets, but we can dig them after the show and link them. But I live tweeted every buy of every Ether Rock. So I think most people who follow me on Twitter would have seen the project selling out in real time. And I think one person I know bought, and now he is also sold for over $1 million.
Were they a Giga Will?
Just
oh my goodness!
I think one of us first NFT buys as well.
Democratizing finance. This is what Tom Osman is out here democratizing finance.
But also, some people I thought would definitely buy.
Yeah,
I said, just buy this.
Well, there's one right here. There's one right here.
About Jack.
He told me, and I was
explain yourself.
I think they were like 8 when I saw that thing in the Discord, and I was like, pricey, and I didn't have the hot wallet was running low on funds to get the ledger out, do the pin code, and they were like ripping at that point, and I was like, might live to regret this, but hey, we'll let it go. And
my God.
Yeah, man, this would have been quite the podcast if we both did it.
Okay, well, hold on.
Quitting the podcast.
Yes, like you said.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're going to be crying because I'm sure we're going to be talking about Jack's Bored Ape portfolio.
You don't have to worry about Jack.
Let's crowdfund a rock buy.
Yeah, right? Party pack? Or what's it called? Party down?
Yeah. Party bid.
Okay, so now this is 21, I think about 22 days ago now at this point. Your entire trade took 19 days. But how many days after were you like, okay, I'm going to flip this?
So I knew within so from the moment I bought it, the first few hours, I was like, what have I done? It felt sick. I literally just set fire to $5,000. I fucked it. Like, what are they thinking? It's a fucking clip art image of a rock you can get for free on the internet. What are they thinking? Then I was like, it started selling. I was like, nah, okay, I've nailed it. I think everyone who wants like a rare NFT, I think everyone who's got like disposable ETH, who's like a Giga who wants everything, is going to want these things. I think they're going to rip. I think they're going to rip really hard. And then the secondary sales started happening after they all sold out. Someone messages me. Oh, this is a good one as well. Someone messages me an anon or a pseudo on Twitter saying, "Hey mate, so you bought a rock. I just missed the minting. Do you think 15 ETH is still a good buy?" And I said, "Fuck yeah, buy it." I think something like that. I can send you the screenshot of the tweet. "Fuck yeah, buy it." And he goes, "Okay, fuck it." Bought it for 15 ETH, which was like the biggest thing at the time. And he's still got it. So he's holding on. He's probably about like a 600 ETH sale in at the moment. So yeah, I'll be taking a commission off that one.
There's something also like bizarre about this stuff, because like you're making the market by talking about it, right? Like the incessant like back and forth on Twitter and the like ridiculously constrained supply is like, there's almost inevitability to it, because you have the like Gary V endorsement, and then you have like, as soon as you see the couple of the right people buy it, it's like, oh, it's like a foregone conclusion.
Hold on. Let's, you know what? I've never done this before. I don't know if you guys have. We're going to play we're going to use a little mind thingy. Okay. Let's go back to Da Vinci's time. This would be the equivalent of everybody sitting in a room, and Da Vinci's like, all right, I'm going to paint 3 motherfucking Mona Lisas right now. And then you have the richest people in Europe. You have 30 of, you have every king or prince in Europe sitting in the room at the same time. He's like, all right, I'm going to paint these motherfuckers, and you can buy them as I'm painting them. Would this be comparable?
I think it's different, because when it started, you just had like, I'd say like normal people like me who maybe like made a little bit of cash from NFT, could afford to buy one early doors.
Okay, right.
And to start with, there's loads of these people, and then maybe like a few OGs who minted them 4 years ago. Who like, I'm not going to name anyone because I don't know if they're public or not, or some of them have, who have them and then have held on to them for 4 years, from like 0 to 37 minting, and then people start showing up. Everyone who's buying on secondary is not buying it at 1.7. They're buying it like 50, 100, 160, hundreds of thousands of pounds, like 300, like 260, whatever it is. So you're getting these giga chads, these whales coming in, just like, "What's up, boys?" And we're like, "Oh my God, like I know this person." Like if it's Justin Sun who bought it 600 grand, he just pops into the telegrams like, "Hey," just like, what is going on? And then suddenly you're just surrounded by this group of people. You're in this club which costs $1 million to join on Telegram, like this group chat, because as soon as you sell, like you're out. You have to leave it. It's like booed from the chat.
You're out. Yeah, you're out of that chat.
See myself.
But you don't care. You got the rock. I'm good. Secured the.
I'm good.
You secured the rock, and now you secured the bag.
Secured the bag. 19 days in and out, and now on to the next.
Okay, so now you are a Giga Chad. Let's just call a spade a spade. No. Tom Osman is a Giga.
You have no idea. These people are another league altogether, mate.
Okay, so but you now though, you're sitting on 400 or 500 ETH, right? How much have you? I mean, you don't have to say how much, but how much are you leaving in the hot wallet for future opportunities?
There's absolutely nothing in the hot wallet, son. That is
okay,
for sure.
You are
no. I've bought a few bits. I've bought a few bits, and I will buy a bit. But I think ETH rips to 6K. Definitely might rip to 10K. So it's probably a good time to hold a nice wedge of ETH.
Yeah, fair enough, right? And so a couple more questions is how did you? Okay, now the sale happens, right? You get the 400 ETH hits the wallet, and I mean, what? Are we going talking fist pound, high fives, or what is the first thing that happens here? What's the first? Or are you just like a quiet, like Tiger Woods pump, a fist pump?
No, it was just chill. We were just in our me and the fiance were in our room, and we were just like chatting through the trade and waiting for him to just like get the ETH ready and set up the deal, and it's okay, like transaction going through, and then just like refresh the old balance, and there it is, and just like, oh my god.
What time did this happen at?
Probably about 10:30, like 11 at night. The kids were asleep. We just sat in the room, just like, what the fuck has just happened? Like, oh my, I've never seen obviously
I'm
anywhere
imagining
near that.
You know, in Only Fools and Horses, where Rodney and Del Boy finally get their million. Sorry, Trung, you might not know this reference, but there's a UK show that we all watched at Christmas, and they finally make the million, and they just are quiet, but then they just shake and go absolutely mental. I'm imagining you and the missus doing that.
Hey, you couldn't wake the kids up.
So wait, how did you celebrate, Tom? It sounds like you were so chilled this whole time, like just a little philosopher.
Champagne or well, come on, something.
No, we broke out the champagne the next day, but yeah, that time it's just, I think it's just shock, because we'd obviously talked about it, and we talked about I spoke to Jack as well. It's like, hey, what's the play here? Like, is it like hold on for a bit? Obviously, it's gonna be worth more in the future. And then it's like, okay, like with the attention play, think like a big sell would do really well. And when we decided on that, it was just a bit like, okay, let's wait and see what's going to go on. And it just comes in, and you're just like, oh my god, just no idea what to do. It still hasn't sunk in. Like nothing's really changed the last few days. So took the kids to a science museum today, and yeah, that's it.
And bought one of the exhibits. He's like, oh, you know what, man? I like
the museum.
Is that James Watt steam engine? Yeah, I think I'll have that. Are you guys selling that steam engine?
It's not for sale. It is. I'll take it.
It is now. I'm going to the Telegram group. I'm buying that. Your whole world's just completely warped, right? You're just like, I can buy anything. Unbelievable. So, but also obviously in your mind, as you said, you wanted that 7 figures to get the pub. So how did you, obviously very internet media savvy, how did you start pumping the wheels on getting the media attention?
So didn't do anything to actually reach out to media, more like turn down everything. But the people who had the rock are absolute savages at memes. Like the rocks as a meme. Oh, they just they make laser eyes look like the most embarrassing meme ever.
Yeah.
Like Bitcoin maxis are like throwing up at the computer watching these rocks take over the internet. Like Pepe throwing a rocket on his head, saying like you're missing out. Like people were just going sick. People were saying everything about money laundering. But the funny dichotomy here is the more people that hated the rock, the more they pushed the price up. The people who wanted, it's hilarious. And then every sale that got bigger, we had a price bot, which meant that every time somebody adjusted the price of their rock, as in like push the floor price up, we tweeted the price, and everyone would retweet it, so everyone would keep seeing it, and then we just pump the memes out constantly, and then like the media caught on with like the first like $300,000 sale, I think, and yeah, like by then it was game over. Every meme was going viral. The main Twitter account had thousands of followers. Then it was a bit inevitable from there.
There are a couple of memes. I did not see very many about Dwayne The Rock Johnson, so I rectified that and made one. But I also didn't see very many about The Rock, the movie, which is the legendary 1990s. Did you see any? Were there Sean Connery? Because there's so many quotable lines.
There was The Rock, the movie.
And Sean Connery's got a million quotable lines. Anyways, man, I think that might be it for me. I kind of hit it with the life-changing questions. And here's the last one. Are you gonna buy anything crazy, or just gonna be like just sit on it, see what's good? There
is one play which I might make, which I'm debating on, but I'm just sitting on it a minute, which would be like a big purchase. But yeah, undecided.
Fair enough.
The interesting thing, which kind of plays to what you do every day, worth like mentioning, Trung, is just like that the value of memes on the internet. Obviously, like Jack can speak to this as well. It's like there's nothing more valuable than a meme on the internet. There's no message that travels faster than a meme, and like memes are almost like a currency of the internet. So when you like the Ether Rock is like the perfect combination of meme, scarce, like historical. It's almost like the perfect NFT that markets themselves. Like it actually doesn't matter that the rock is a free clip art picture of a rock. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm.
Dude, you're immortal now. You're immortal in the NFT game. You're one of the. I mean, you set it up. You're the first to sell for millions, right? It's legendary. It's legendary.
Thanks, man. Worked out.
All right. I think that's enough. Oh, the only thing I'll add is not investment advice at all.
Not.
We don't want to get demonetized. Do not, unless you're in a Discord channel 15 hours a day, do not do this. That's it for me. No more questions.
Tom, quick question, mate. You mentioned you think that ETH is going to keep going up, right? Well, you are betting on that, and you're literally walking the walk with the money sitting in your wallet right now, or a hard wallet, or whatever you're using. Like, curious how you think about that as like Ethereum versus Bitcoin and other stuff, and the way you're thinking about taking a chunk and reinvesting it into NFTs or other stuff you're kind of interested in.
Yeah, so I think Jack can speak a bit to it as well. Just if you're in this space, like transacting with ETH all day, every day, and you're watching like the volume going through OpenSea, and you're watching the conversations happen on Twitter and Discord, like it's an absolute monster. There's no chance they're anywhere near a turn in like a bear market. Every single thing is going nuts. Like NFT prices are obviously going wild. People are still finding out about the communities that are going on. There's only 100,000 like actively trading wallets on OpenSea, and OpenSea's volumes like doubling every single day, like probably every single week, definitely. So this so early. And ETH is just on an absolute tear. I know people who use ETH probably 400 times more than like their bank account or their bank card. People buying NFTs and trading and sending out ETH to each other. Everything is based on ETH. Every dApp is worth like using is based on ETH. I think for me, I feel like a bet on ETH is a bet on the next version of the internet. So for me, as in how I use it, it's just a no-brainer.
Unreal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I actually did have one question. How much do you think your rock will be worth in 10 years? 100 mil?
Like easy 100 mil, yeah. Yeah. Easy. The guy has the most expensive like alien as well. So he's tuned in.
Oh my goodness, man. Oh, I'm so shook. All right. I think we had some other topics around all this. Bilal, what did we have lined up?
Yeah, I mean, just to build on what you're saying, mate. So that was the ETH side. And I think if you've heard some of the episode we've done on ETH, you know we're probably in the same camp on this one. But as it relates to kind of like Bitcoin, because, you know, like we're all using ETH and we can see everything being built on it, the dApps, like you said as well. But then how do you still hold Bitcoin as well? Would you put like a percentage into that thinking that you're, no, go on. I'll just let you answer.
Zero Bitcoin.
Oh, wow. This is a pump move. This is the opposite of pump. Pump is all Bitcoin, no ETH. Oh my
goodness, bro.
Wow. That's actually surprising.
So
I didn't know.
Why?
Nothing.
Why?
Yeah.
Just can't do anything with it.
That's someone clip this right now. That was the best one-liner we got here.
Well, I mean, but that's weird though, because there is no second best. Why aren't you? Why are you not? All right, so oh my god. Okay, so Tom, hold on. Let's pull this. Let's pull the threads here, man. So you hold no Bitcoin, top line, because you can't do anything with it.
Not just that. I just don't. Yeah, it's obviously an incredible investment, and it's going to be doing like amazingly well. And obviously, everyone's holding on their balance sheet. But as someone who's like grown up like with the internet, the Ethereum layer on top of all of these of everything that's going to be happening in Web3, from either like tokenized communities or just interacting with the dApp or like a DEX or whatever it is. Yeah, just the people who I'm around all day, every day, who are doing exactly the same. They use ETH all day, every day, and use Bitcoin maybe once, twice a year. So like for me, like I'm all in on ETH. It's just that much of a no-brainer. And I would be probably feeling like I'd be leaving value on the table if I had money in Bitcoin.
Is it? We talked a little bit about this before, Tom, but the idea of the difference between the like building community on Ethereum, and you made a good point about like computer game culture, like World of Warcraft, and the people that spent, I don't know if this is like a generational difference or there's a time difference in like people that adopted Bitcoin versus Ethereum. I don't have enough like anthropological understanding to figure that out, but the idea of this is like the native currency of these like this organized gamer memer culture, like the flippening of meme ability going. And I don't know if that's just me because I follow all the NFT and Ethereum space, but it feels like they were like winning the narrative war right now as well.
Yeah. And going back to memes, Bitcoin isn't winning the meme game against the Ethereum memers. And if you're looking at all the big DAOs that are coming up and they're buying all these big NFTs and they've got like thousands of ETH in their wallet, they haven't got thousands of Bitcoin in DAOs buying NFTs. You've got thousands of ETH, and they're interacting with their treasuries, with their safe. They're diversifying in ETH. They're buying and selling using ETH. They're denominating everything in ETH, not in Bitcoin. So yeah, I think it is like a generational thing. And as like a former like World of Warcraft player, it feels like guilds have moved from like World of Warcraft and RuneScape and all those things into DAOs, and that's why they're so well organized, just because they've done it for years playing games. So yeah, like for me, it's just like, oh, okay, like I recognize this space. Like we've traded in the auction house of World of Warcraft. Like we're built for this shit. Like, come on, let's do some trades.
Yeah, you know what's interesting as well. Like this could go back to the Live in Miami episode. We talked about like the difference in real world culture between the Bitcoin crowd and the Ethereum crowd, and even the attitude towards buying things is different. Like Bitcoin, the narrative is like, don't buy that can of beans. You know how much that would cost in Bitcoin in 3 years, you know, versus like, oh yeah, get that frog JPEG. It's only 50 grand. You know what I mean? It's like you could not have two more opposite worldviews at the ends of each spectrum. And it's just like the irony of them both like emerging as this like solution to like sound money.
Oh my God, dude. It's amazing, man. It always happens, right? The war between these things always have to set up, right? Like the way these things are set up, just go through history, right? Like I'm not comparing these necessarily to what's going to happen, but I'm a big history buff. You know, Bitcoin is setting up to be like communism, capitalism, right? It's setting up to be Protestantism versus Catholicism. It's just like you're setting up these competing narratives and for control of the world. And I don't even think it sounds crazy anymore to say that, right? It's like, are BTC and ETH going to be like, quote unquote, the religion or the equivalent for the next 100, 200 years? It's crazy, man. It's absolutely bonkers.
Trung, we were saying, I think we've said it on a previous episode, maybe Jack said it, but like a lot of crypto feels like religion with upside in some circles, because the way that people like pitch it, they're like, no, you're on my team, but imagine you're going to gain from more people adopting your religion, which obviously a long time ago might have been the case. But now it's like you can just open up your phone and you see a number that represents value straight away. And then the last thing I was going to say on that is, it sounds like what you're saying, Tom, is that Bitcoin is for boomers. That's kind of what I was hearing. Is that what you're saying? Am I putting words in your mouth?
You can't get me on a quote for that, but
heard it here first. Your face says it all, man. But yeah, that's crazy. Bro. That is crazy that you don't have any Bitcoin. I didn't expect that, but I respect it a lot. And on my side, I have like 3-4 times more ETH than I do Bitcoin, but I do have a little bit of both just in case. But respect.
Mm-hmm.
You're still a believer. So, Tom, you didn't mention, and the word gets thrown around a lot, and it's popping up like crazy, Discord, right? So Discord, I think just officially announced it raised that $15 billion valuation. Microsoft tried to buy them at $12 billion 3 months ago. And now everybody's saying 15 billion is way too small. If Slack is worth 30, Discord's worth at least 30, right? That's kind of what people are saying. Can you walk I've used Discord once. I was in an Eric Weinstein Discord once, and I had no idea what was going on, so I left. But so can you talk us through Discord? Because I think a lot of listeners are probably not super familiar or don't have it and don't use it. Can you talk us through Discord at the high level, its background with gaming, how it's being used in an NFT space, and then let's line up the Discord versus Slack, because I'm sure you and Jack will have thoughts on that.
Yeah, okay. I can take a stab and maybe Jack can chime in, because obviously Visualize Value is on Discord as well, and my community, social clubs on Discord. So I think Discord, built for gamers. It's got like all of the features that you want if you're just like hanging out with your friends. So obviously like really fast-paced chat, loads of channels, permission channels. You can have like your voice chat. You can have your like just your audio rooms only. You can have like private channels. You can do your live streaming from there. You've got like all your integrations with Spotify, so you see what your mates are like listening to. You can be in like hundreds of them on the left-hand side, so you can just like drop between each of them. And a lot of the time, you've just got Discord open, and you're just like doing other stuff, and then feels like a bit like MSN Messenger, like back in the day when you're just like hanging out and just hanging with your friends, even if you're not around each other's house. And then where the crypto side comes into this, all crypto projects, you have like a Discord pretty much. So it's just default that everything is on Discord. All of the bots, like the custom bots, just to name one, like Collabland is a bot which basically you can connect your wallet and it will verify a certain item that's in your wallet. It could be a token or it could be an NFT. And with those things, you can permission Discords to only people who own a certain NFT or own a certain amount of tokens. This is where we're getting into the tokenized communities and all this good stuff. And it just isn't native with any other platforms and just works in Discord absolutely perfectly.
How do you prove that you have a Bored Ape, for example, and then you can walk into a Bored Ape Discord? Because that is genius, by the way, because it really does turn the ownership into a ticket, right, into exclusive groups. So how does that happen?
Yeah, so Collabland works on like a really basic level. You enter, if you enter a Bored Ape Discord where you've just bought your ape and it's in your wallet, you basically type exclamation mark join into a channel, and then you get a DM, and then you click a link, it takes you through, you verify your wallet, and then it looks in your wallet for a Bored Ape on that contract address, and it says, yeah, okay, you've got one, and then it automatically assigns you a role, which then gives you the permissions to view and chat in certain channels, and then maybe it verifies you as like an ape owner, for instance. And then you can do like really interesting stuff. Like there's the Discords for punks, and there's like certain tags in my Discord. If you own like a shiny magpie, you get a different tag and you get different permissions. So yeah, you make it as simple or as complex as you want.
And Slack cannot do this, or it can, and just nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit.
It's so bizarre, the like functionality of the two things do not deviate that much. Like on paper, you would look at both and be like, oh, they're comparable products, but they have been built from such different philosophies, or at least they've like forked their philosophies, where Discord, I feel like, is complementary to crypto for a bunch of reasons. One, it's like they're open for the most part. It's like people put that stuff in their like Twitter bio of a crypto project. It's like join the Discord, versus Slack, which, you know, in the creator space has been this gated thing, or like it's a corporate closed Discord where employees talk to each other. And that like association mentally with like, oh, Slack is where I go to work and Discord is where I go to like hang out with people I want to hang out with and like read about stuff that I actually think is fun and interesting, is one big thing. And Visualize Value, we had, I think, 3,500 people in our Slack, and we had it on the free plan because it would cost $40,000 a month to run a Slack paid with that.
With the same functionalities that you require.
$8 a user.
Oh my goodness,
That's
dude!
mad.
Slack
Per month.
is leaving money on the. They're gonna get smoked.
Maybe Bitcoin communities would be good on Slack.
Yeah, that, like the idea that so people started complaining about Slack and Visualize Value. It's like, oh, all the messages are getting deleted because you only have a 10,000 message limit, and that's public and private messages. And most of like 75% of the volume of messages are just people that have met in that community, and they just go back and forth in DMs all day, and they're just deleting everything in the public channels by going back and forth in DMs. So it was like, oh, we're losing IP, we're losing all the value of the community. And that's how they think they're going to hook you, is like, pay us and you can get it back. But it's like, now we're just going to move to Discord.
You legit left, right? You had a Slack for visual.
Yeah, just bolted over. And the other interesting thing about how Discord monetizes is it's optional, right, Tom? Where you boost servers. So you pay because you're a super fan. So you get different features, like you can use custom emoji reactions, which is a really simple but interesting hook. It's like these custom reactions to things. If you look at any of these NFT projects in particular, there's like a culture that builds around that, because they build their own reactions, and like you have to be in the know to like react a certain way. One of the ones me and Tom always go back and forth on in the Bored Ape Discord, there's a sales bot channel. So it just automatically posts every ape that sells. And there's an Apple emoji that just says free in a blue square. And the reaction to like an underpriced ape sale is like free. And you see like 100 people react to that. And it's just kind of hilarious to like see this culture like playing out in real time. Whereas, you go into Slack, and even if you have like a fun community that you're a part of in a Slack, you're also getting your notifications from your boss or your supervisor that says, where the hell is the email newsletter, Trung? We need to send this thing out.
You know what? Actually, you brought up a really good point about the monetization models, because Discord is freemium, right? You can use it, but you're paying for all these crazy extra features. It's like a video game. It's like it comes from the background. It's just like, you go Fortnite free, but you pay for fucking dumbass skins, right? And then I'm gonna get hammered on the swear jar today. But we got that, and then Slack has just gone total. Slack, you went so corporate, bro. And then Salesforce bought you. All right, so hold on, let's just put it line in the sand here. If the valuation is gonna be much different, right? Because now Slack is within the distribution channel of a Salesforce. But just like Discord is gonna be $100 billion business in your mind. It's like a no-brainer.
Easy.
If it's the native communication layer for Ether, Web3, it's game over, right?
All crypto communities on Discord, all gaming communities,
gaming as well.
There's millions of bots. So this is another thing which is worth mentioning with Discord. There's a huge bot network, and they're really receptive for creating bots. So automation and bots play a huge part in Discord servers for either like verifying new users, posting updates, like monitoring like prices of currencies or whatever, or bringing people in automatically, or like posting event reminders, whatever it is. There's games that you can plug in, like games into Discord just through bots. Like if you Google Discord bots, you can actually find a site with hundreds of thousands of bots that you can just plug into a Discord server and add extra functionality. Like trying to add like a bot into Slack is just like the biggest chew on ever. But by the time you've added it, you might as well just switch to Discord and move your whole community over.
And I think it's like you're limited as well. That's another, like you get 4 bots or something on Slack, 4 plugins, and then it's
£1 million.
You have to make a decision to kill one, or it's $50,000 a month to add another one.
Let's play devil's advocate. What's wrong with Discord?
Nothing, man. Does what it's supposed to do. It's free.
There's like, if you're complaining about Discord, it's like go kick rocks, right? It's like just free.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
It fixed a lot.
Sorry about
that. Can I just add a point? Since the whole like sale thing comes through, they did like a big like reach out to users, because obviously the user base was pumping about like what features were missing, and obviously Clubhouse came out with stages and everyone was copying the stages. So then Discord were like, well, we already have voice channels. It'll literally take us like 3 days to add like a stage feature. So they just like added it and like dropped it. And like Clubhouse, like, okay, great.
So it literally can do. It has Clubhouse.
It has Clubhouse. So it's just a feature.
I'll give one. We have a problem sometimes with the invites. I have no idea why, but I think there's like the volume and the speed they're growing is so crazy that. And there was something with the Gary V Discord where they kicked 100,000 people out of it overnight or something.
98,000 people.
Like any software that's growing at that speed, it's more like teething stuff than like fundamental issues with it. I think if there was a ability to invest in Discord, I'd be aping big style, not investment advice.
Yeah, we were talking about it in our chat. Yeah, so Jack, just to clarify, you were essentially going to have to pay $40K a month for your Slack, right? That was what the equivalent bill would be.
Correct.
And now you're saying your Discord is basically free.
I pay like $3.99 personally to get like reactions, and then other people can do the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. So it's on the individual. All right.
So I've boosted mine. I pay $100 for mine for like better audio and video quality of like streaming and stuff, and then like more emoji slots and.
Well, Tom, actually, can you tell us a bit about shiny objects? I think let's pump the tires a bit here, man. What's going on with shiny objects?
So launched my community, Shiny Object Social Club, about 5 months ago. Basically, in the wake of moving on from MakerPad to do my own thing, I just saw pretty much so much exciting stuff happening on the internet that I literally just couldn't pay attention to, like just doing like a normal job or like work. And I just thought there's got to be other people like me who are just like, this is fucking interesting. Let's just like dive down the rabbit hole. Let's just like talk about it with mates. And then the next thing, like, bang, let's just talk about that. That's cool. So I was like, there's no place to really like hang out, to just go full ADHD and just pump and talk about everything that's going on the internet, just because it's so exciting. And then I was going to do like an official sounding community name. And I think I messaged Jack first. I was like, Jack, I've got it. Shiny Object Social Club, because there's a shiny object syndrome. We've got like a magpie as our mascot. Magpies love shiny objects. And then, it turns out a lot of people share the same passion of just being on the internet all day and talking shit about anything that's interesting. Forming a bit of a like core team around it. We're building projects with people. People just like hanging out and trading NFTs and chatting about drops, and we're doing stuff like group buys of NFTs now. We've got like a shared treasury for all that good stuff. We've got a shiny token about to launch, which is going to power the whole community. So you need to actually transact in the shiny token to be able to join, and then you can earn it through bounties and all that good stuff. So it's going good. It's on Discord.
Tom, how'd you do the token? How'd you create the token for the community?
How do you create the token? So we work with Seed Club. Seed Club are a tokenized community incubator. So we work with them in their second cohort. So we work with them to actually mint and create the token with them. And now we have it in our shared treasury wallet, which we're going to be distributing out to early community members and also putting up for bounties. So everything that happens in Shiny Object Social Club is done and built by the community, and everything will be community owned. So now I can personally fund it. I don't need outside seed investment. I don't have to give any of it away. It can just be all owned by the community, and everything that's been built so far has been built by a community member, whether it's been like a Discord bot or like a website or an autoresponder, or the weekly emails done by community members. Community members mod the Discord and review member applications, and we're going to start building stuff. We've got some exciting stuff planned for season 1, which is coming soon.
What does a super successful shiny object look like in 3 years?
It's in about 3 years, but I think Web3 community, they put out a tweet earlier on that Web2 communities will be worth millions, and Web3 communities with the token layer, with the NFTs and with the DAOs, and I think these are going to be worth potentially $1 billion communities. I know we've seen FWB, Friends with Benefits, kind of leading the charge with it. I think they grew 800% on their token value a couple of weeks ago, which took them up to a $55 million valuation as a community. They're absolutely crushing it, and there's absolutely no reason that's not a £1 billion community in a couple of years.
Can you walk through how that works? So Shiny Object Social Club, it's a bonus community on the internet. You get 100,000 people to join. To join, they got to buy your token. It pumps up the price of the token. Can you talk through where the money's moving, where the value is going, and explain to me what you mean by $1 billion community? I'm just trying to wrap my head around that. So what is a multiple of that based on? Or are we just talking pure market cap here?
To be honest, we haven't kind of hit that spot quite yet. So wouldn't be a good person to talk to on that. I don't want to butcher a guest answer. So this is something we're we're kind of exploring right now. It's like the next step. We've done the NFTs, which have funded the early stages. We have like NFTs for access. So if you hold a NFT in your wallet, you get lifetime access and you get other perks. So the token is coming shortly, but I know that FWB is like a case study if you wanted to dive into that of how they use it. You basically have to hold 75 FWB to access the community if you've been accepted. And that goes up every single season.
What is a season?
So a season is basically a focus, like a period of time, whether it's like 3 months or 6 months, whatever you want to do, where the community has like a focus of what they're going to be trying to achieve. And then the community kind of like focuses down on that, and everyone kind of breaks up into teams and they just get stuff done. And they call it a season. So it's almost like, okay, season 1 is like, this starts on this date, finishes on this date. It's going to cost this amount to join. And we're going to be trying to accomplish this goals. It just basically gives the community like a direction if you want to be involved. It gives it some goals rather than just like a continuous, like day-to-day, slowly like entropied version of a community. It's just an interesting like dynamic and structure.
So actually, can we walk through a potential example? Totally hypothetical. A season 4 of Shiny Objects, totally hypothetical, is this. We want to get an ad in the Super Bowl. Like that's the goal. So everybody that's part of that community, or you attract people that want to be like, oh my God, this is such an amazing mission. I want to be a part of this. They'll pump up your token to be involved in this project. And then you guys get the ad somehow into the Super Bowl for your community. Everybody's laughing, everybody's winning. More people come, pumps up the token more. Is this something that could happen? Potentially?
The things don't really have any value to start with, but you can just say, okay, this is like required to join the community. But yeah, you've seen like successful communities do it. FWB is a great example, or Forefront are a good example, where they'll just pay like Forefront like tokens in return for like writing an email newsletter, or you can complete bounties like building a website or like whatever it is. So yeah, once everyone starts using it, then yeah, things can get interesting.
The bounty part is super interesting. Can we tease that out a bit? I know Balaji is doing bounties with 1739, his writing project or a media project. So can you talk through what a bounty is and how it's incorporated in these Web3 communities and how important they are, their function and all that?
Yes. So bounties are basically, if you're like a decentralized community, you can assign a bounty to like a task that you want doing, rather than going out and finding like a dev on Fiverr who would just butcher a fucking job for you. You would just like say, okay, we want a new landing page designed. We'll assign like 300 shiny towards doing it. So the most bought in people of your community is saying, okay, like this, like I'll do that for 300 shiny, or like some ETH or whatever it is. In 1729's case, it would be like 1 ETH to complete this task, and the best result gets 1 ETH, second best gets half, whatever it is. So you just put those out there, and then just stuff gets built, stuff gets done, and people are bought in. Everyone ends up being an owner because everyone's already kind of owning a piece of the community. So it's a good model. We're obviously early stages, but it's the way we're going.
I don't think I fully understand what's going on, but I totally see how the alignments, like the economic alignments, the layer of community on top is right. It just creates a monster, right? It'd be like these massive Facebook groups. Like I'll give you an example. There's a really popular Facebook group called Asian. It's basically just Asian memes and jokes, right? But I have no idea how they make money. I have no idea if they're actually making money. It's called Subtle Asian Traits. It's like one of the biggest Facebook groups. But if they had done what you're setting up, and everybody has an economic interest in that, it'd be a monster, right? I don't know exactly how, but I'm sure somebody's writing about it and it's figuring it out. But now that you've kind of explained all the parts, it's kind of clicking in my head about how big it is.
Yeah, shout out to Seed Club. Seed Club's really the best place to check it out. Jess at Seed Club's done a great job at incubating these. So if you're interested in learning about tokenized communities, go and hang out with FWB or Forefront and Seed Club. And yeah, there's some great info going on from those chaps.
And my last question on this is basically these communities are totally agnostic, right? You can set these up to accomplish anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my God, it's wild, man. This is wild. I'm gonna have to chew on everything you just said there for a bit, man.
Yeah, we're early doors, but yeah, I think it's interesting. It's obviously I'm hanging my hat on it, and we're doubling down on it. So we'll see.
Jack, can you always have a lens on these things? Can you talk through some of the stuff that Tom did and how you see Web3 communities being massive?
Yeah, I was gonna when we first talked about it, and Tom was telling me, actually, Tom and I got connected. He was helping do some automation stuff for the Visualized Value ecosystem, like plugging stuff together and helping with billing stuff and very dry but important infrastructure for this stuff. And we're both like, I'll be completely candid about it. We're like, man, this stuff is just getting tedious, like that, the whole like, I won't paint with too broad a brush, but like online education space or like this incessant, like learning for the sake of learning environment separately from what we're actually working on. And when he had the like idea to set up the Shiny Object Social Club, we were talking about that. It was like this idea of distraction is now becoming this profitable thing, and all these crypto environments where like play to earn games, or you can like make memes of monkeys and increase the value of a token you hold, is that idea of inverting that model entirely, right? Instead of reading all these tweets of like, go and be a Buddhist monk and like jump in a cold shower and, you're in your daily routine, you need to have these 19 things done before you have your 2-hour meditation at 10 a.m. You can just dick about on the internet and make money doing it. Man, I think it all comes back to like this idea of this like ridiculous wealth transfer to the people Tom's talking about, these people that like play World of Warcraft for like thousands of hours a year that now have this economic clout to shape like certain parts of the economy on the internet, and they're rewarding the things that they love, which is, dumb jokes, games, things that like they're valuable to people. People are interested in spending their time on them. Therefore, there's some value ascribed to that. And no longer is it just Fortnite or whoever else that captures that value, right? So I think this massive imbalance of the people that are buying and selling rocks, for example, they're kind of I'm probably using this incorrectly. That's like the trickle down economics of crypto, right? Like they're messing about with this stuff. Tom makes $1 million and then he goes and makes a amazing crypto community that introduces this technology to 1,000 people that build decentralized apps, other communities, like make creative work. So it's just this interesting like ripple effect. We've talked about it on a bunch of the other podcast before this. Another amazing thing about the social token idea is it takes all of these networks that people are joining to learn how to build something themselves. So all of these old like education networks, like, hey, here's how to start a business and build your own network, versus, hey, just join our network and just like contribute positively to this thing that already has network effect. And you can make a bunch of money off doing that. And that's like, it feels like a small shift, but it's actually a massively different thing. Like I'd give a very tangible example. It's like, say this existed when Visualized Value began, and there is a design school for Visualized Value, and all you have to do to get access to the design school is buy X number of tokens. And I get, a certain percentage of that because I built the material, and then people can give bounties to the Visualized Value community to visualize stuff. And every time that sells, maybe the creator that made it gets 70%, the community gets 20%, I get 5%, 10%, whatever it is. So like you can build new economic incentives around these things that already have network effect, instead of all these people wasting their time and energy trying to build something from scratch when it's really, really hard to break through. And there are all these power laws that you can attach yourself to and then kind of multiply off the back of, right? It stops everybody having to start from scratch every time. Does that make sense? The last part of that?
No, you did. You talked about that with the Bored Ape Disney, right? It's like if you're an artist and you are like, oh, you have all these crazy ideas, but like you said, taking something. Listen, you can draw something cool, but building a Pixar franchise is a totally different battle, right? It's actually interesting because there's actually a new startup. Alexis Ohanian and Serena Williams did one. They're trying to be the Pixar for the 21st century. Do you guys see that?
No, I have to look it up.
They're basically taking cartoons and connecting them to influencers, and then saying, okay, well, in the 20th century, when you built a large franchise like Toy Story, you'd have to have all this upfront work, right? And then Disney would have to put all the marketing power behind it. But now it's like you said, it's like about how the network's already there or the influence is already there. Serena Williams' daughter had this doll that she used to play with. They made it into a cartoon. And now they're like, well, people are spending all their attention and time on mobile, Instagram, and Twitter. Why don't we just take this IP and turn it into a Pixar franchise, right? Or the equivalent of. But I think your idea is similar in the sense that, like, you know, you can start from scratch or use what's already there, right? In the case of Serena Williams, it's like use the influencer that already exists, already has all the mind share. And then in your case, it's like, why don't you just go buy a Bored Ape, go buy one. If you're a musician, go start putting in all your music videos. You're going to pump up the value of your Bored Ape, and you're going to pump up the value for everybody else's Bored Ape. Everybody else is going to be pumping up their Bored Apes. Everyone wins, right? It's just like a perfect alignment. I'm kind of blown away right now, man. Just like actually listening to you guys.
Well, one more, as you were talking, gives me one like stark example you can use to contrast it. It's like your old career relied on you breaking into closed networks. So if you traditionally wanted to break into finance, you try to get a job at Goldman, you'd have to go to a university that Goldman would recruit from. And then Goldman, maybe you move up the ranks in their closed network, or you bounce around investment banks and you go into venture capital or private equity or wherever from there. But you have to have a name to attach yourself to, and you have to go and impress like one or two people to get that job, right? Versus like, hey, there's this crypto protocol that's building in public in Discord, and I'm just going to like write a bunch of code for it. I'm going to design an interface for it, or I'm going to help simplify the value proposition and send marketing material out into Twitter that helps people understand it. Then those, like, you either buy into that protocol and do it without permission, or that's just something you can do so publicly that they're going to bring you into that network on favorable terms because of what you can do for the network. And that's like, I think I talked about permissionless apprenticeship a while ago, last couple of years. And even when I wrote about it 2 years ago, it was still like try and break into a closed network. It's like do this thing, then email this person, or like post it to Twitter and then they'll see it, which is, that mechanic still works. But now it's like the friction that has been removed from attaching yourself to something economically is insane. And it's like a small tweak on the surface, but it really changes behavior. And that's why I think you've probably seen this. Maybe you even tweeted about it, Trung. It's like banks and like financial institutions having a really hard time getting talent because they want to work in crypto in some way, shape, or form. Because you also have like 1,000 rolls of the dice in that world as well.
And also, just to like add to that, you can be pseudonymous, you could be anonymous in these communities. You don't have to. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what currency your native currency is. If you can earn under a pseudonym in Ethereum, as part of a DAO or a community or part of several, then like great. These communities are perfect. They don't care if you have a cartoon monkey as your avatar and you're called 0x Monk. Like it doesn't matter if you can do something cool and just say, look, I want to edit your videos, guys. I think you've put out good content. Like I'm an editor. I can help edit, and like it's going to cost like this. They'll be like, great, yeah, carry on. That's it. I think you're muted, Trung.
Trung, you're on mute, mate. Go on. Editor, please keep this part in, because that was funny.
Hilarious. Yeah, I was literally saying hilarious how Tom's just the most British. Carry on. Great, just carry on. Oh, you're editing a video? Carry on.
Yeah, that's it. You do some cool stuff, you get paid for it. You monkey man.
Oh my! I think Nat Eliason, tech Twitter dude, writes a lot about Web3. I'm sure you guys know him. He wrote a great one. A tweet. He's like, if you want to be working in kind of like Web3 in the future, like get used to being interviewed by like a cartoon monkey.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, right? I love it though. I think you touched on it, Tom, is the idea of like, both Jack and Tom both touched on is like the people, these giga whales, trickle down. However, whether or not the exact framing trickle down. Usually you give tax cuts, right? And then there's more money for people to top. But same idea, right? It's like who have the money in this ecosystem, who's got the wealth, and then what are they kind of directing it at? Same idea. And it's just, what do they care about, right? Like Vitalik literally made Ethereum like the myth because of World of Warcraft, like as a joke, right? He's like, they took away my warlock's powers, and then I found out about the evils of centralized authority, right? Like he says now that he was joking, but like it kind of like there's obviously a modicum of truth. Is like, all right, well, I'm going to do something where you can't take away the warlock's powers, right? What do these people care about? Yeah, exactly. I think Balaji has said something super interesting about Vitalik, which I find very interesting. Is in history, we're going to look back, and he's going to be like the Alexander Hamilton of our time, right? Like created basically a whole new financial system from scratch and wrote about it. And obviously, Alexander Hamilton's very famous for writing the Federalist Papers and kind of laying the structure for the U.S. economy. But Vitalik's doing that right now for the internet economy, and it's just wild to think that this guy blogs twice a week, and you get access to the Alexander Hamilton of our time. And he's just writing everything, and it's just all there, right? And you get to see what he cares about, what he thinks about, and there's this huge gaming influence. Bilal, did you have a thought on that?
No. This is really interesting. I think Tom, like what I like about your community, and I've been in the Discord, is like people in there. There's like a lot of really interesting people, first of all, and I think just because of your background, the fact that you've been kind of working on the internet for a while, people know you for all the stuff you did previously as well. But then it's cool to see how you've like shifted as your interests have evolved. And I think all of us have done this in our own ways as well. Yeah, man, I'm just really happy to hear that it's working out, man. And like you're actually building something really valuable and fun. I mean, I think when us three started this podcast, it was a similar vibe. We were just like, look, we all like the actionable stuff, even if, Trung makes fun of it. Like, but we don't want to, like, that's not we don't want that to be front and center, right? Like it can be useful, but like we all just care about having fun ultimately. And if you work with people, and it feels like you're hanging out and you're just having fun, yeah, you're gonna do some work along the way and make some money too. But really, it's like, what are we spending all day doing? Like, let's make sure it's fun. So it's cool to see that you've built that, man. So be excited to see where the club is in a few years.
Well, actually, let me, Tom, how much has, because previously you were at MakerPad, can you talk about your experience there and how that's kind of informed what you've done moving forward, and then the differences you're seeing, and not necessarily what you're trying to make better, but what are you trying to do different?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so MakerPad, obviously, we taught people how to build and operate business without writing code. So this is about the no-code trend. Kudos to Ben Tossell, who saw it from his time at Product Hunt. Saw the trend of these no-code application building products getting posted on Product Hunt, and then spun off, created MakerPad, which was a combination of like a directory resource site where you could list all of the like just particular no-code tools, how to build mobile apps, web apps, automations. He was epic at connecting these things together and doing like how to build Airbnb without code. And I think there was a few of them which popped off and everyone just wanted to copy, because it was such a paradigm shift of saying, okay, before you had to hire 5 coders and have 150 grand to build a marketplace. Now you can do it yourself in 4 hours. I was like, okay. So everyone was coming to learn that. I joined as employee number 1 a few months in and worked on education. So I did like a bunch of tutorials, built like hundreds of apps showing people how to do stuff, did like live sessions, workshops, boot camps. And then alongside I had the community. So worked in the community doing like community events or just like posting useful and interesting insights into Circle about what people might be interested in. So kind of like sharpen the sword of community building at MakerPad. And then as my interest changed from no code and then all this like Web3 stuff started going wild, and then NFTs came. I was like, ignore all this stuff, but took what I learned in MakerPad and rolled it into Shiny. And actually 2 months, well, chats were obviously going on while I was still there, but MakerPad got bought by Zapier for a nice acquisition. So kudos to them. And yeah, it's absolutely flying. It's a great place to actually learn how to build stuff. Again, like gives people control back over what they're doing. So rather than having to shell out and use other people, you can just do stuff yourself. So yeah, love it. But yeah, important lessons from MakerPad into Shiny is like community is everything. If you have an engaged community, you can do anything. You can launch products, you can start businesses, you can raise funds, you can like have fun, you can like just like hang out or whatever it is you're looking for, you can do with like an engaged community of like-minded people. Whereas it's completely inverted from before. You'd have a business, like MakerPad was like business first, community second. But now I think the way to go is a lot about what Greg Eisenberg talks about this all the time, is have a community first and then launch products. So we have a community now of 390 people of like VCs, entrepreneurs, developers, Solidity devs, automation folks, branding people, marketers. Like now, if you wanted to spit out a studio or a product, I know like the 30 people you can just pull together who are invested in the community to spin out that product, and we could fund it. And yeah, just do that, rinse and repeat, have fun doing it. And everyone's engaged because they're there for fun in the first place. Whereas if you are a company or a product trying to do community, it's like, why aren't my community engaged? It's like, well, they're not actually like that interested in you as like a business. Like you're not that fun. Like, let's be honest. Like you shouldn't really have a community. You have customers, you have a community. Whereas if you do community first, products, businesses, interests, or whatever it is second, then it just rips it up.
So you mentioned at the very beginning, The Rock obviously plays this big marketing and branding element, right? I mean, it's huge, man. It's absolutely huge, right? It's like it really ties you in with the whole NFT Web3 movement. Like it's like, yo, this is the guy. It's like, yo,
yeah.
And Shiny Object. It's called Shiny Object.
Dude,
man.
how shiny was that rock?
Yeah, he showed the shiniest object possible. That's hysterical,
secure the shiny object.
Oh my goodness. Bilal, do we have any other overarching topics?
I think that's it, man. I think we could probably wrap it. But I don't know, Tom, if there's anything else, man, this has been sick just to get the inside scoop. But honestly,
this has been amazing to hear, man.
Even beyond the story, it's just like you're so on the edge. Like we always have the segment about edge of the internet, and you're way down that rabbit hole. So we need to do this more often, man.
Yeah, man.
No, 100%.
I think like a final like parting comment, like what you guys are doing is like equally is on the edge, because like me and Jack talk about all the time, is you got to cut through the noise. If you're just producing like a cookie cutter version of anything these days, everything's so busy, you've just got no chance. So either you're just like hanging out talking shit on a podcast and calling it not investment advice with like MS Paint, they use your logo, like fuck, like obviously that's cool as shit. Whereas if you're just doing like the official sounding, like standard website,
investment advice,
real investment advice. Fuck those guys.
Yeah. See, if you're CNBC and you're launching the investment advice podcast, not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it.
NGMI, my friend.
I had this thought when you were talking earlier, Tom, and it's basically, I think maybe a good wrap up is like the inversion of everything. It's like distraction is the new focus, like play is the new work, like all of this stuff that is like been taught to you in a industrialized classroom is just gonna completely destroy your chances at doing anything interesting or fun. Outside of like legitimate work, I know we have doctors and lawyers and people that make society function, but like middle managers working in marketing agencies and stuff like that, it's like I would wish that upon nobody, and this stuff gives you a way out, to be quite honest. That's what makes it so exciting to me.
Oh my Love goodness. It, man. Yeah, I think that's an amazing. Well, let's give the final word to Tom here. Final words, $1 Million Man. How you feeling?
Feeling great, and don't take my investment advice. It's not investment advice.
All right, that's fantastic, man. That's definitely a good way to end it.
Yeah, nice one, Tom. This was sick, mate. We'll definitely got to link up because I'm in the UK, and we're going to try to link up if we can. So If not this one, I'll see you on the next
That's it,
one.
man.
All right, boys.
Love it, dude.
This was
Love
fun.
it.
And if you made it all the way here, thanks for bearing with us. The internet was a little choppy at times, but we're still going to put it out. So thanks for being with us. As always, it's no investment advice, and we'll see you next week.